Guys, Josh here, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you 10 mistakes to avoid in Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. Even though I've been playing this game for over 150 hours now, there are quite a few things I have been doing wrong until recently, and that I wish I knew about earlier. So whether you've been playing for a while or you're just getting started, hopefully you will learn something new. If you do, leave a like on the video. You can also hype it up, which is a new feature that some of you may have. Maybe you don't have it yet because I don't, but if you can, it should help more people to see these tips. Now, let's get into these 10 mistakes. This first one might be surprising, but for the most part, there's no point in producing items that are 4, 4.5, or 5 stars in quality. That sounds strange, I know, so let me explain. Until I figured this out, I was always cooking a lot of dishes to sell at the bazaar, and doing my best to combine the best ingredients and adapt the recipes to get the highest quality possible. There is a considerable price difference with each star level, so naturally, I think like most players, I aimed for the best. However, I've also had, for the longest time, the level 3 quality up buff from the Bazaar decor, and knowing that most items in this game could go up to 7 stars, I assumed it would bring everything closer to 7 stars. I did not question it until recently when I started paying attention and noticed that this buff actually stops working at 5 stars. This means that whether a dish or any other item is 3.5, 4, 4.5 or 5 stars, it is going to sell as 5 stars no matter what once it's at the bazaar. Keep in mind that if you have the buff at level 2, the cutoff will be at 4 stars instead of 3.5, and with the level 1 buff, the cutoff will be at 4.5. This doesn't mean you shouldn't try to make the best quality ingredients, as of course, once you are able to go beyond 5 stars, it will be worth it, especially since the value goes up a lot more from 5 to 7 stars. But if you can't go past 5, and you have to choose between using an ingredient that will bring one dish from, let's say, 3 to 3.5, or another one from 3.5 to 4, you are better off getting the first dish to 3.5. Still on the topic of cooking, our next mistake is not buying cooked rice from Madeline. You already know that you can buy food from Madeline every day except on Thursdays, and that she usually only has 3 of each dish in stock. But what I didn't know until I was maybe about 50 hours into the game is that she actually has an infinite, yes, infinite quantity of cooked rice. It is only 0.5 stars in quality, and it is already cooked, so you won't be able to use it for something like vinegar. But if you've not had the time or space to grow your own rice, or you just need a little extra, it can really help. Each bowl costs 127 G, but put them into the blue windmill and turn it into mochi that's worth 300 G, and you've already more than doubled your investment. If you happen to have strawberries, use them to make some strawberry mochi, which has a base value of 618, and that will only go up based on the quality of your strawberries. If you don't have strawberries, don't worry, simply put the mochi back into the windmill to make some refined rice flour, and then go back to your kitchen, turn that flour into dango. That will be worth 588 per bag. If you have the red Wonderstone, which increases the quality of your processed goods in the windmill, you will make this entire deal even better. Plus, all of these recipes are simple and fairly quick to make, so they're always worth it, unless you're using your blue windmill for something more important. If that's the case, then you can use the cooked rice to make curries, so many other dishes. Find something that's trending or whatever works best for you. But you can never go wrong with cooked rice. It is such an easy way to make extra items for the bazaar. Also, fun little detail, but depending on your buffs at the bazaar, and even more so if the rice is trending, you can actually sell the cooked rice for more than you bought it for. It is still not worth too much, so not something that I would seriously recommend doing, but I thought it was an interesting observation to share. Whenever you're out shopping in Zephyrtown, don't forget to stop by Miguel's Mercantile. After progressing the story a bit, you will be able to place orders with him for a wider variety of seeds and items, including those that are out of season. However, do not make the mistake of ordering on a Thursday. It will take one day for your order to arrive, and then you will have to go pick it up at the store, So if you order something on Thursday, well, Friday Miguel is not working, so it will go to the next day. But then on Saturday, he's at the bazaar, and he won't let you place or pick up orders there. So in the end, you won't be able to get your stuff until Sunday. Orders become extremely useful once you have the seller to get seeds that are out of season. And in the second year, if you want seeds in advance for the beginning of the next season. But having to wait 3 days can easily mess up your plans. Ideally, try placing your orders between Sunday and Wednesday if you don't want to be stuck waiting. Also, remember that you can only order one stack of items at a time, so if you need multiple things, you will have to plan your orders in advance over several days. One small extra tip before we move on. You may have noticed how Miguel usually only keeps 9 bags of fodder seeds in his store, and maybe you're struggling to keep up because your animals eat the grass faster than it can spread. Luckily, when you place an order, you can order 99 bags. That also took me way too long to find out, but once I did, I was able to finally fill out my entire pasture all at once, and I've not had any issues with grass since then. The next mistake is to leave trees in the ground all year round. You might have already avoided this mistake if you've been reading all the tutorials carefully, but even then, it's not explained very clearly just how different it is from your typical Story of Seasons game. Using your hatchet, you can uproot trees, but it does not destroy them like you would think. You get to keep the trees, and you can replant them at any time or put them away in your storage. Since the fields are quite small in this game, every little square of dirt counts, and there's no reason to leave trees there occupying 9 of them while they're not producing any fruit. So don't hesitate to switch out your trees at the end of each season, and keep them in storage for next year. Something else you should know about trees is how fertilizer works on them, as it is different than with other crops. As soon as a tree reaches the mature stage, its star quality will no longer increase. If you're not sure about the status of a tree, you can see the growth stage by standing next to it for a second without moving. So what this whole thing means is that you should fertilize trees as much as possible while they are growing, and if you can't get to the quality you're aiming for, you will have to use a fruit to make some new seedlings using the yellow windmill and start over. So this might lead you to think you should stop using fertilizer once a tree is fully grown, but that would be a mistake. Even though the quality will never change, fertilizing continuously will increase the yield, which is the quantity of fruit a tree produces. I did some quick testing here, so I grew 6 grape trees. They all ended up with the same 5-star quality, and once they reached the mature stage and started flowering, I fertilized them at different rates. One of them didn't get any fertilizer at all, one got some every day, and all of the others were in between. Here are the results. So the one I did not fertilize gave me 7 grapes, while the most fertilized one gave me 13 grapes, almost double. It is a really big difference, and the improvement is gradual. And it's not all or nothing, each tree gave a different amount based on how often they were fertilized. Considering that most fruits can only be harvested a few times per year, it is definitely worth fertilizing trees as much as you can. And no, fertilizing out of season will not work, so there is no point in leaving a tree there and fertilizing it all year round, hoping to eventually get 200 fruits in a single harvest. Once you have all of your fruits, you're done cooking all of your dishes, you're now ready for the bazaar, and if you tend to feel rushed, here's a tip that will help you save some time. As you know, there's this bell that you use to get the attention of customers, and it's also used on the farm to call your animals in and out of the barns. By default, your character rings the bell 3 times, and that can feel like it takes a long time, especially when you're busy trying to sell hundreds of items. Actually, it turns out everybody can hear you from the very first ring, so what you can do is as soon as that first ring is over, jump. That will cancel the animation, allow you to move on to something else right away, and the bell will still accomplish its intended effect. This might seem like a very small thing, but once you know it, trust me, it is hard to go back to waiting for the whole 3 rings to be done. While we're at the bazaar, another mistake would be to fill your stock in any random order. Whatever is at the top of your stock will be what first pops up when it's time to place your items, and so most likely the first things you will sell. This is important to know as the tier gauge, to call your tier squad, fills up by selling a large quantity of items. It seems to be about 200 items for the 5 sprites, regardless of their value. Then when you call your tier squad, no matter which sprites are there, you will get a bonus income displayed in blue for each item you sell. The more valuable an item is, the bigger that bonus will be. So typically, you will want to put your cheaper items at the top of your stock to fill up the gauge, and then your more expensive stuff like accessories, you want to sell them during the tier time. When the tier time starts, it will first go through every item that's already on the counter, and then it will continue with whatever is in your stock, starting with the top row going from left to right, then on to the next row. If you are not sure whether an item or not will be sold during the tier time, and you really want that bonus, you can place that item on the counter right before calling the sprites. Keep in mind too that the 10th series you are using will make a difference. So if you have 5 decor items of the same series, the tier gauge will go up faster for that specific category of items. I like to go for the chef series furniture since I sell mostly cooked dishes, but the windmill series affects the processed goods, so that's also a very good option if you have a lot of accessories, pickles, and other items made with the windmills. Also, unless you are still in the very first few weeks of the game, I would say don't stress too much about what items customers are requesting. There is no real penalty for ignoring them. There are going to be many more customers coming in, and by prioritizing your tier squad and keeping your more valuable items for them, you should be able to sell everything and maximize your profits. Now, something that took me, again, an embarrassingly long time to realize with the tier gauge is that it does not carry over to the following week. There were so many times when I was about to finish my afternoon shift, I had a few sprites ready to go for a tier time, but I told myself I would just save it for the next week, and then the next week came, I forgot about it, did not notice that the tier gauge actually went back to 0, and I would repeat the same mistake week after week. The gauge does carry from morning to afternoon, so it can be smart to keep it for a better afternoon shift instead of wasting it on the last few items in the morning. But if you are already on your afternoon shift, make sure you call your tier squad before you finish, even if it's just 1 or 2 sprites. Otherwise, it will just go to waste and you will miss out on extra profits. Between the weekly bazaars, I know you're busy, but do not make the mistake of neglecting your relationships, as most characters will eventually have requests with interesting rewards for you like new recipes and clothes. But if there is only one character you really should not ignore, it's Kagetsu. If you've not seen her yet, she will appear in the mountain area after you've reached rank Bazaar 3. Her favorite gift is soy milk pudding, but if you want to keep it simple, she also loves any wild herb or flower, so you can just quickly grab something on the way to her house. Once you've reached 4 hearts with her, keep an eye out for her next relationship event, after which she will give you access to this feature, where she gives you a special buff that will last for 30 in-game hours, so a bit more than an entire day. These are the same buffs you can receive from food, and they range from level 1 to level 4. Level 4 being 4 times more efficient than level 1. Do not underestimate the power of these buffs, take advantage of them as much as you can, and they also work on top of your food buffs. So if Kagetsu gives you a chat friendship boost, plus you have food giving you a chat friendship boost, you are going to be making friends so fast on that day. I have a video that goes over the different food buffs and how they work, so feel free to watch that if you'd like to know more, but don't wait too long to befriend Kagetsu, as her friendship is so valuable, and also, after that event, she will start showing up in town regularly as well as during festivals, instead of staying by herself in the mountains all day long. That's enough about friends, let's talk about our enemy, the final boss of Grand Bazaar that can be hard to tackle, storage. I could probably make an entire video just on storage management tips, but if you're running out of space, you're struggling, you've already given everything you could to the nature sprites, you combined all of your ingredients through cooking, here is one life-saving trick. Let's say you have too much sturdy lumber. You do want to eventually upgrade it to ultimate lumber, but you don't want to clog up your yellow windmill right now. as you're using it to make available teas and accessories that you need for the bazaar. What you can do is just start as many batches of ultimate lumber as you can, then pull this lever to cancel the production. Then, just like that, your sturdy lumber is stored inside of the dispenser until you're actually ready to do something with it, and your wood mill is available to use right away for more pressing things. Be careful if you use this trick with perishable items, as they will lose freshness if they stay in the dispenser for too long, but they should be fine if it's just for a few days. With things like lumber, wool, ores, and gems, however, there is absolutely no risk, and each dispenser has 3 pages of inventory, so take advantage of them, and you will show storage who the real boss is. That's it for the tips and tricks, but one boss I have been fighting with for a while now is the YouTube algorithm. I believe that if we get to 2,000 likes, we can knock it out for a little while, so please join the party, deal some damage if you can. Leaving a comment will give the video some useful buffs too, and in exchange for your help, I have an entire playlist of tips and tricks videos for Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar that you can watch to level up your knowledge. Thank you so much for watching, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.